For this video, we're going to be discussing graphing absolute value equations. So an absolute value equation takes the form y equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. So an example of that could be like y equals the absolute value of x minus 5 plus 6. And the point hk, taken from this h and this k, is the center of the graph, and that's what's called the vertex. So if I look at my example here, my vertex is going to be at the point 5, 6. Noticing I take the opposite sign of what's inside the absolute value, and I take the sign that I see for what's outside of the absolute value. So this is called the vertex, and that's going to be the center of our graph. The graph is shaped like a V. You can see that in my 3 examples down here. And it is symmetrical on either side of the vertex, meaning that the two sides are mirror images of each other. So if I take a look at these, like my red graph here, this is y equals absolute value of x. My vertex is at 0, 0. And to illustrate what I mean by symmetrical, if I move 2 spaces to the right, that's at the point 2, 2. If I move 2 spaces to the left and go up, I'm going to be at the point negative 2, 2. Noticing that the x values that are equally distant from 0 have the same y values. That same thing still holds true down here for my blue graph. This is y equals absolute value of x minus 3 minus 2. Notice my vertex is down here at 3, negative 2. And if I move over 1, I'm at the point 4, negative 1. If I move left 1, I'm at the point 2, negative 1. Symmetrical meaning that they have the same y values in this case. For my green graph, you'll notice that it's an upside down V. That's because of this negative in y equals negative x plus 4 plus 1. My vertex is up here at negative 4, 1. And you'll notice if I move right 1, I go down 1 to the point negative 3, 0. If I move left 1, I also go down 1 to the point negative 5, 0. So how do I make one of these graphs? So to graph absolute value, there's 4 steps. The first step is you plot your vertex, plot your middle point. Then you choose 2 x values from either side of the vertex, each equally distant from the vertex. So say, for example, I knew my vertex. Let's say I had like y equals absolute value of x plus 2 minus 1. Then I know my vertex is at the point negative 2, negative 1. So when I pick x values, I might go, okay, 1 to the right is negative 1, 1 to the left is negative 3, 1 more to the right is 0, 1 more to the left is negative 4. I'm going to plug those values into my equation. Pause. Just making a video. I'm going to plug those points into my equation to get my y values. And then I'm just going to plot those remaining points to draw my lines. So if I take a look, here's an example. We're going to work this one out together. So I want to graph y equals the absolute value of x minus 3 plus 2. So my first step is to find my vertex. So using what I see in my equation here, this x minus 3 tells me my x value is 3. The plus 2 on the outside tells me my y value is 2. So my vertex is that point 3, 2. Now I need to pick some x values. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and plot that point 3, 2. And then I'm going to think, okay, if I move 1 to the right, that's at 4. 1 to the left, that's at 2. 1 more to the right is 5, and 1 more to the left is 1. Now the nice thing is, because these graphs are symmetrical, 1 and 5 will have the exact same y value, and 2 and 4 will have the exact same y value. So I really only have to do this twice instead of having to do it 4 times. So I'm going to take my 1 and my 2, I'm going to plug them into my equation. So I'm going to go y equals absolute value of 1 minus 3 plus 2. I'm going to see what I get. So if I work this out, 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is 2. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So 1 and 5 both have y values of 4. I'm going to do the same thing for 2 now. So absolute value of 2 minus 3 plus 2. Absolute value of 2 minus 3 is negative 1. absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So both 2 and 4 have absolute value, or have y values of 3. So now that I have my 5 points, I can go ahead and finish my graph by just plotting my points. So 1, 4 is right here. 2, 3 is right here. 4, 3, and 5, 4. And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw in my lines. Okay, so I'm doing my best I can to make straight lines. Boom, boom. And there is my absolute value equation as a graph. Taking a look at example number 2, I've got y equals 2 times the absolute value of x minus 3. So once again, first step, find the vertex. Okay, so there's nothing inside the absolute value with x. That means the x value of my vertex is 0. Okay, y value is -3. So 0, -3. That's going to be my vertex. And now I just need to find my other x values and y values. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. Start at 0 and go 1 right, 1 left, 2 right, 2 left. Whoops. And we know, because it's symmetrical, that these two are the same and these two are the same. I don't really want to deal with negatives, so I'm just going to do the positives down here. So starting with 1, I've got y equals 2 times the absolute value of 1 minus 3. Well, that's 2 times 1 minus 3. 2 minus 3, that's -1. So these both get y values of -1. Same thing if I plug in -2, or +2. So I get 2 times the absolute value of 2 minus 3. That's 2 times 2 minus 3. And that is going to be 4 minus 3, which is 1. So these both have absolute values, or both have y values of 1. So just going to go ahead and graph it now. Okay, so I've got -2, +1, -1, -1. Got my 0, -3 here. 1, -1, and 2, 1. Just got to draw in my lines, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so that is how you graph an absolute value inequality.